Do Arsenal need a striker? In my opinion, yes. After the performance yesterday against Liverpool at home, I do think Arsenal now need a striker. Looking at that game, we saw Kai Havertz have several chances throughout the match, especially in the first half where he should have scored some goals. This is exactly the reason why we have dropped a lot of points this season. And if you look back to last season in the Champions League, there was clearly something missing in the Bayern game because again, we did not have enough attack to actually win that game. Now, I'm certainly not hating on Kai Havertz. I do really like Kai Havertz. I think he's a very good player. I think he's very dynamic and he offers something different. However, he's not an elite striker. He wasn't bought as a striker. I think he was more of an opportunity signing, and which is very strange to say considering that he was £65 million, which is unusual for what will be classed as an opportunity signing. However, I just do not think he brings enough. He's never going to be a 25 goals a season striker in the league. He's not. He's not that player, but he's certainly good enough to be a deputy. Um, Whether he wants that or not, he has to prove that he can score bigger goals because yesterday he wasn't there. He just wasn't there in that Liverpool game. He was really, really poor. And I think we need to start looking at an elite striker. And I think the obvious one calling out right now would be Viktor Gyokeres from Sporting. And, people have been talking about potentially 85 million and also a release clause that may or may not even be active in the January window. Um, the Sporting president said it would be unlikely but not impossible to get Gyökeres in January. So who knows with that? Another option would be Isak, but I think at this point, I don't think Isak is enough either. I don't think he's that much better than Havertz. I really don't. Obviously he does have a better goal scoring record, but the difference between Isak and Havertz isn't big enough. Whereas I think Gyökeres, he just brings quite a bit more because when you look at the profiles between Isak and Havertz, they're very similar players. Gyökeres brings a lot more to his game, and he's a better finisher. And we've seen that now over the past 2 seasons at Sporting. He's got experience in England. Yes, it was in the Championship, but that is still experience. And I think that's also very important. I think Arsenal made a massive mistake in the summer in not pursuing a real striker because now we're stuck with Havertz and Jesus. And obviously, we offloaded Eddie Nketiah, which was a good decision. He was deadwood. But now we're looking at our second striker is Gabriel Jesus, a striker who hasn't scored a goal since January. And he himself admitted that scoring goals isn't his strong suit, which was such a stupid mistake to even say. Because that kind of thing, yeah, it gets clipped up in the media, but then it can even get to his own head. And now he's at the point where he's desperate to score, so he's making all the wrong decisions in front of the goal. So I think he needs to start against Preston on Wednesday. And again, if he doesn't score, he's going to be under a lot of pressure because he needs to score right now. He really does. I think he's had a decent start to the season. But again, he's not an elite player. We're not going to win the league without a real striker. And yeah, people say City didn't win the league or won the league without an elite striker before Haaland. They had Jesus, but their team was all around far, far stronger than this Arsenal team. It had a lot more depth. This is the thinnest squad in the league. It has only 22 players, which is incredibly naive from Arteta, from Edu and the Kroenkes to believe that a team with 22 players can actually win the title. I think yesterday the game against Liverpool was a reality check. We have regressed since last season. You can't say Liverpool have even improved that much because they've bought one player and he's injured. All right, yeah, Slot is different to Klopp, but would you really say Slot is a better manager than Klopp as of right now? No. So we have actually regressed since last season, and the proof was yesterday's game, and it's really disappointing to see. And I do see the fact that this striker issue that we have, it is a significant problem, and I do think in the summer we need to spend big, or at least go out in January and just try really, really try hard to get Gyökeres and maybe Isak. I'm not totally against the idea. Obviously, he's a big fan of Henry. He wears the number 14, but I just don't think he's that much of an improvement on Havertz. But he's certainly an improvement on Jesus. So maybe Isak and Havertz could work together. And there's even a possibility of John Duran from Aston Villa. Obviously, he's a very young player, 20 years old. Again, maybe we need to be looking at him. But right now, I'd probably prioritise going for Viktor Gyokeres because he's the proven striker. He's the one getting all the headlines in Europe and in Portugal. So, in my opinion, Arsenal do